Hey, I hope everyone is doing well. This light is really poor of mine, but I'm going live. It does not look good. It doesn't look or sound as good as it possibly could. But I went ahead and I just went ahead and went live because I keep running out of time, and I am not getting to cover the absolutely terrible loss by Clemson at Notre Dame. First off, I'm Brian Knight. I am not Bobby Durkin. So if you know Bobby, I'm not Bobby here. I'm Bobby somewhere else. But thank you so much for joining me. Pass this video along to anyone who likes to talk, especially Clemson football, college football, and or just to prove to them indefinitely that Bobby Durkins is not real, if that makes sense. There's a lot of people who still believes he's real, and he offends a lot of people online, and that's a lot. That's a lot of fun, especially when people believes he's real. So let's dive right into the Notre Dame game. First off, congrats to Notre Dame. You beat the living crap out of Clemson. You couldn't beat Stanford. You couldn't beat Marshall. The Ohio State loss is understandable. You couldn't beat those two crappy teams, but you could beat the living crap out of us live on NBC. So congrats to you. There's nothing more to say other than that. I will say that a lot of Notre Dame fans, let me stop right here. There are some Notre Dame fans, they've talked to regular trash, and they should, because, well, this is college football. I mean, we need to stop being so doggone sensitive. So it's what sport's supposed to be. It's supposed to be an escape from everyday life. But everybody's just so flipping PC and so sensitive, and terms and conditions and community guidelines. I just get sick of it. But so I'm glad that they're talking some trash. I mean, they deserve it. At the same time, there's it's not a few. There's a lot of Notre Dame fans who, for some reason, they believe after they won the other night, suddenly they're back. Suddenly it's 1988. They're about to win their last national championship. Yeah, 1988. And they are talking mad trash. And I'm just going to say pump your brakes, because Southern Cal's still coming to town at the end of the year. If for some reason you should beat them, maybe we can think about it. But getting this win, congrats to you. But at the same time, Clemson has problems. But Notre Dame, once again, good job to them. So let's dive into Clemson. Sweeney's post-game interview is something that's really, really interesting to watch. You see, as I watched it, and one of my buddies, Parker Henderson, sent it to me, and I really don't watch post-game interviews. Who after a loss is going to go, well, guys, I just tell you, I've kind of fell asleep on the job, and everybody knows our core principles, and I know everything's been lackluster, and who's going to really come up there and say that? For the most part, nobody's going to say that if they want to keep their job. And then a lot of people have some sense of pride. Sweeney looked tired. He really did. He looked tired. He said a lot of the right things, and a lot of the things I agree with, but I'm trying to make this video, instead of a 30-minute video, maybe about a 15-minute video. So I really can't say too much. Man, I hate that light overhead. I wanted to do this during the day, but time got away from me. And yes, I'm wearing my Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal shirt, my Home Alone shirt. But let's just follow my timeline here. Deshaun Watson wins a national championship, he leaves. Okay? The whole Kelly Bryant year. Lost to Alabama in the first round of the playoffs, 24-6. Couldn't throw the ball downfield. In fact, we scored a touchdown for them there. Basically, I mean, it was just crazy. It was 10-6 at halftime. The defense didn't have a chance. There was offensive problems there was problems on the offensive side of the ball. Next season, we all know Kelly Bryant, Trevor Lawrence, Mr. Everything. Trevor Lawrence comes in, Kelly was a great athlete. He should have changed positions. I say kudos to anybody who played a different position in college or in high school, and then they moved up to the next level and said, "Hey, I just love playing ball. If it's between me working a regular job or making a few, a few $1,000,000 a year, I would rather do that than be stubborn and go work a regular job." That's why so many people are really enamored, especially these days, with sports figures. Is these men are making money. Even the guys who are sitting on the sideline are making more money than a lot of CEOs of smaller and mid-sized companies. So, I'm not talking about Disney or something like that, but I'm just saying punters are making tons of money. Yeah. So that's why people are so blown away with it. But anyway, I'm rambling. Trevor comes in, replaces Kelly. They win the national championship, the whole 44-16 game. That was the height of Trevor Lawrence's talent, potential, and really achievement at Clemson. And you had Travis Etienne behind him. You had T. Higgins out on the field. You had Justin Ross. No, Justin got hurt, but you had Justin Ross. You had a lot of other players out there. Some players that are still there today. KJ Henry, Xavier Thomas. His foot's broke. He's done. And I hate that so much for him. But there was so much hope on that team. There was so many players who returned on that team that looked incredible. And we saw them slip into a lull. And it was like, well, they lost that front four of the Power Rangers, Lawrence, Furl, sorry, don't mispronounce it, Austin Bryant, Dexter Lawrence, etc. And they're gone, but we had so much talent there. And we all know what happened that season. Clemson went in and blistered a lot of teams, played LSU, and got exposed for poor play calling. I know everybody's talking about how great LSU had a great team, but Clemson was up 17-7, and it was just poor play calling. Poor play calling. Jeff Scott leaves, which a lot of people talks about Jeff's importance. And I do. Jeff created the plays. From everything I'm understanding, Jeff created the plays and Tony would call them. Okay, I understand that. But Jeff Scott, no matter what happened down there at crappy South Florida, he is a very brilliant football mind. And having him there and that knowledge and that ability to create these plays, having that persona there was just it was big. And when he left, Clemson fell off even more, in the sense of Trevor came out that first. You could just tell that they had so much talent they didn't have to try, so the play calling got really lazy. And we saw it once again when they played Ohio State. So 2 playoff appearances in a row, they get their tail kicked. But because they won all their ACC games, or almost all their ACC games, everybody was told to keep their mouth shut and that you're spoiled and that you need to get over it. But it was like, hold on. It's like taking, if anybody's ever played Madden on here, Madden NFL football games. I mean, I remember the first one that came out. I played that. I'll tell you how old I am. But you would have the all Madden team. That means they have the best players ever. And let's just say you put them up against the worst team in the NFL and they lose. Would you look at that team and say, well, you know what? I mean, I know they're the best players, but anything can happen on any given Sunday. And that's good to say and stuff. But if you're playing really crappy talent and you are just superior across the board and you lose, that don't supposed to happen. Don't tell me how much you've done for me in the past 10 years. That doesn't supposed to happen. Are you trying to buy yourself some comfort and peace that happened? I know that Sweeney took a lot of he took all the fall for this past week, and I get that. I'm not saying that toward. I heard the post game interview, but here's the deal, folks, and this is where I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Last year was much more than DJ not playing well. We saw questionable calls all year long on the offensive side of the ball. Elliott leaves. We got Streeter now, and Lester Dabo will keep Streeter. Streeter will have to run over somebody with his car between now and next season, namely one of the Sweeney boys, for Sweeney to actually consider firing him. And I'm going to tell you why. 2 reasons. Well, let me give this preface. Dabo Sweeney, if he got back to who he was that got him here, I'm sorry, y'all, my eyes are itching. I don't know if I'm having an allergic reaction or whatever. Dabo Sweeney would clean house right now in his coaching department. He would get an intensity there that is absolutely unmatched, and I guarantee you that they would win a national championship in the next few years, and they would go to an Alabama type of dominance. That they should have had one more national championship at least out of Trevor. I don't care who the crap they were playing. That should have never happened. Because you didn't only have Trevor. It wasn't just like Trevor was out there, him and his long hair out there, 6'6", just stumbling around. It's him. I mean, he had Travis Etienne. He had a ton of talent around him. I'm sick and tired of covering this. Sick and tired of having to explain it. I've just had to accept, not that I'm sitting on some pedestal here, and some people are going to take this totally wrong. And then some people, it is actually meant for them. Some people are just so doggone stupid when it comes to analyzing talent. Clemson had the talent. They shouldn't have lost games. They shouldn't. That they did lose. And the reason they lost it was because of poor coaching, especially on the offensive side of the ball. It's hard to mess up a play. It's hard to mess up a game plan with Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne playing for you. So the talent actually hid how bad the play calling was until they played somebody really good who had coaches who were paying attention to the really bad play calling. And that explains the 2 back-to-back playoff losses that was butt kicks. I know we beat Ohio State in that first round going into the LSU game. But folks, that was a butt kicking by LSU. And Clemson was leading the game. We heard the excuse after I forsook the run. So you forgot that the number one, probably one of the best running backs in the country was right back there. And the number one in your conference is back there. You forgot that should have been like strikes 1, 2, and 3. And my point in all of this is Dabo's got to get back to that intensity of coaching. He's got to get back to that intensity to where it's like, hey, dude, you're not doing your job. Clean it up, you're gone. I know you don't want to hear that, but you're gone. You'll be gone. And then if they don't clean it up, they're gone. That's first. He has the ability to do that. Next up, the last thing that I would say is that if there are players on the team who doesn't want to play, or if there are players on the team who does not take what's happening serious, you need to realize that your idea of culture is a little different than what it is. Look, I want these guys to graduate. I don't want them to be like they are down there in Georgia. They're getting arrested every 2 or 3 months for rape. I don't want that. At the same time, this is a football team. Not everybody is going to be a cleaned up good, wonderful, sweet kid that Disney could do a movie about. I get that. We need to understand this as fans too. I know a lot of us gets upset about the transfer portal and stuff like that, but I'm just going to say this. Football is a business. It is a business. If you tell me that in 4 years I could go from being a local high school star to making 20, 30, 40 million dollars over a 2-year period, 3-year period, and some even more than that, especially if I do well and I get a new contract, I could be making $250 million. Yeah, I'm just saying this. Why do I want to go get a regular everyday job and focus on my classes that I really don't care about when I'm there for the business of football? Just saying. The schools that is focusing on the business of football, their football teams are doing okay. And so I want Sweeney to keep, teaching them good things, good ways and everything. But right now we need to realize that if they're good young men, but they're not playing good football, we're failing them there too, because they're wanting to be good football players. They'll start losing recruits. Oh, our recruiting class is this and that and that. It might take a little bit, but we'll start slipping. You remember last year, the week before, or this past December at signing, you remember the week before, we had like a top 5 recruiting class, and then 3 people dropped out. Well, that's because NIL. Welcome to the new world, sir, ma'am, whatever. Sweeney is going to have to clean. I think he's going to have to clean house in some of his coaching. And I think that he's the very first thing he could do is put out a cattle call, meaning calling all great coaches. I don't want good coaches. I want great coaches. The law of numbers would show you. The law of numbers he would find someone who would not only fit his culture, but would complement it. And they go out there and they kick everybody's tail in the ACC. They go up to Notre Dame, and this weekend that wouldn't have happened. And you darn well better know that if you had Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, you're going to get more than one national championship out of them. So, and I hope he does it. I think the guy is a brilliant guy, but people can be brilliant. People can be a good person, but if they become blind to things that the error of their ways, if they become blind that they need to adjust the game plan, folks, it's over. So I said a couple of weeks ago that DJ had really progressed, and unless something actually crazy happened, the wheels come off. I guess I'm watching one of the very few times that I've seen that happen. The wheels are coming off, and it's really sad for him. At the same time, don't understand why they put Cade out there for one play. He throws an interception, then you send DJ right back out. I mean, what does that do to your guy who is a 5-star recruit? You sent him out there in the middle of, he was behind. He just brought you from behind against Syracuse to win. And now you're sending him out there, he messes up one time, you pull him. Folks, this is what I'm telling you. This team does not look organized. It doesn't look like they have their crap together. It doesn't look like everybody is putting together as this. They were progressing and progressing and progressing and progressing. And then it was just like something happened. Now, some of you are going to pick that statement apart. Did I say that they had reached the upper echelon of college football? No. It seemed like they were learning as they go. It seemed like they were getting better. They were fixing, still had a lot of things to work out. I've said that over and over. My point here is that, wow, it's a mess. It is really, really a mess. It's actually quite terrible. But Clemson fans, I'll tell you this: if Sweeney returns to his old way of doing things, Clemson fans will have many years to come of dominating college football, and we'll have other national championships. But you mark my word, tonight, on November the 8th, 2022, at about 11:30 at night. If he doesn't, that's the asterisk beside this statement. If he doesn't, the good old days of Clemson is over. Well, I'm Brian Knight, and I'm not Bobby Durkins. Hit the subscribe button, pass along to anyone who enjoys my commentary or just wants to tell me how terrible I am. So, hey, it would not be the first time. Good to see Christopher Lane in here. Got Lester in here. Got Sue Kavanaugh, Ohio State buddy. It's down in Austin, Texas. It's good to see you. Yeah, I watched your Ohio State Buckeyes, and I thought they were going to lose that game, but they pulled it out. Then again, hey, I'm gonna play a little, devil's advocate here. Would anybody really be excited to play Northwestern? No. But trust me, I understand. I do see the problems that could definitely come to be with Ohio State. To me, Sue, I'll say this about your team. To me, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Clemson. You play some teams who will have some talent here and there, but overall, you're head and shoulders above everybody in your conference. And then the poor coaching or the lackadaisical approach by the coaching and the players. And then you play a Northwestern, and they play you really, really well. And yeah, they're 1-8. They were 1-7 when they played you the other day. And I mean, if anybody knew nothing about either team, you wiped the slate clean, and you just sat someone who was new to football down to watch that game. They knew nothing about either team. You would have thought they were equals. You really would have thought they were equals, and that doesn't supposed to happen. That really doesn't supposed to happen. But hey, it happens, and hey, Notre Dame is a lot better team than Northwestern. They absolutely smashed us, but with the talent that is on Clemson's football team, I think that this will be another one of those years we look back and we'll chalk it up to just wasted talent. I mean, I don't know what else Clemson needs on the defensive side of the ball. I know that they could have a few better, a little more experience over in the secondary side. But on the offensive side, I know they have their issues here and there, but I'm telling you, it's coaching. But hey, who am I? I'm just a guy in his bonus room / work office, making a video with poor lighting tonight. I mean, I look like I'm in the early 2000s. But anyway, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to bed. Pass this along. It's good to see all of y'all. Hopefully, Sweeney will change it. I'm telling you, man, if he just goes back to his how he got to where he is, and it's in him, they will drag anybody across the field. But if he doesn't, it is over, and you can take that to the bank. Thanks for joining me. Go Tigers.